Good afternoon. I know I do this a lot of press conferences, but I'm going to do it again today because I got to thank God. Because what I'm going to be describing later on could have been a way worse situation with the individual that we had to deal with out there today. And so, you know, as always, thank God. He has a plan for everything. During the worst times or best times, it's all up to him, and he decides what's going to happen. Information right now is all preliminary, still part of the investigation. There's still things that could change, so we'll make sure everybody understands that. The other one too is I want to thank our Special Agent in Charge, Mark Brutnell, Florida Department of Law Enforcement. Mark is a superior supervisor at FDLE, great partner with us, and they will be heading up the investigation into the shooting today. The subject's name is Scott Yeomans. His date of birth is 7/8/86. He has an extensive mental health history to harm himself, and he's made statements to harm others. And that's going to parlay into what I'm going to be describing right now, the situation. So at 8:14 this morning, Scott Yeomans is trying to break into a gun store on Little Road, right down the street from here. He starts banging on it. He actually gets a sign, starts trying to get a metal sign, start bashing into the window of the gun store. Next to that gun store is a gas station. And the person at the gas station says, "What are you doing?" And he says, "I'm trying to break into this gun store." After some unsuccessful attempts, he starts walking away. Thankfully, they properly notified law enforcement and said this person was trying to break into a gun store. Very suspicious. Police find this individual. So one thing to make sure you're aware is right now he is being charged with that attempted burglary into the gun store along with ag assault on law enforcement. So the deputies start bowling in the area. They find the subject about 200 yards north on Little Road. Detective is the first one who spots him. Detective gets out of the vehicle. Immediately, the suspect pulls out a knife. The detective did the right thing. He yells out "knife" on the radio. Suspect has a knife. Deputies start flocking on scene. They had less lethal out there. They had a lethal weapon only because we didn't know what the suspect was doing. I want to give our deputies a lot of credit. They were doing everything in their power to de-escalate the situation. They kept pleading with the individual, "We will get you help." And he kept making statements like, "You won't understand, you don't know." And you know, the deputies were just all chiming in, "Please, we want to get you help. We want to do everything to get you help." He wouldn't drop the knife. He basically would not, allow us to assist him. As they were still trying to set up with the less lethal to try to get a situation where they can end this peacefully, the subject started charging at the deputies with the knife. Simultaneously, they were firing lethal rounds and less lethal rounds at the subject. Let me make this abundantly clear, and we will release the video. We will show you it. The subject was in extremely close proximity to the deputies. He was charging at them with the knife. It wasn't like he was walking. He started in a dead-out sprint. He started trying to get there really quickly towards them. When you're in a short distance, you got to do everything you can, not only to stop that subject, but to protect your fellow deputies. And that's what they were out there doing. They were out there protecting each other, protecting the community against somebody who absolutely had a plan that he wanted to harm himself or somebody else. The subject, after he was struck with the tasers and gunfire, he hit the ground. He hit the ground with his head. As the deputies were put handcuffs on him and started rendering aid, the subject looked up at the deputies and said, "Thank you." Clearly, this person had a motive today that was going to harm somebody else, or, God forbid, he got into that store, he took the guns. What innocent person, what innocent child could have been harmed today because this person was stopped? So, the other part of the body-worn camera I want you all to see is the rendering aid that our deputies did. They were unbelievable. We train our deputies in TAC-MED, tactical medical issues, putting wounds on gunshots, bandaging up knife wounds if necessary. Watch that video. What the Pasco deputies did there was unbelievable today. And there's a lot of people out there that say, "Oh, just let them die." I get that. I understand what people have that kind of sentiment, but that's not who we are. We will render aid. We will do everything we can because our job is to stop the subject. And that's what they did today. They stopped him from harming somebody else out there. So again, I want to give all the credit to our deputies. They were phenomenal out there. They did one hell of a job. They protected our community. I want to thank them for everything they do day in and day out. Make no mistake about it. There is a clear line that connects mental health and violence. What this subject did today was tie that knot extremely close together. That's why I can tell you the amount of threats that our agency deals with, threat management unit, our calls keep escalating because people want to harm other people. That's something we have to deal with. And then the other part too, we need to help the mental health providers in all our communities, because people like this need continuous care. People like this do not need to be on the street. They don't need to be in a jail. They need to be a mental health facility where they're going to get continuous care. But at the same time is, when they risk the lives of our public, when they charge at our deputies, when they have a means to harm us or somebody else, they will be dealt with. And that's something we will absolutely do in the Sheriff's Office, and we will never apologize for protecting our community. So I would like to have Special Agent in Charge Mark Brunell add a few words.
Thank you, Sheriff. As the Sheriff said, FDLE is here on scene conducting the criminal investigation for the use of force. This happened at about 8:15 this morning in a very high congested, high traffic area. So I'm asking the public, if you were in that area and you saw this, heard gunshots, or you were a witness and you left the area, please contact our office. We'd love to talk to you. There's a lot of folks that stayed, have given us great interviews, but I saw some digital evidence today that leads me to believe that a lot of folks left, rightfully so. But if you would like to, please call us. The number is 1-800-226-1140, and we can schedule a time to come interview you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you, Mark. Any questions?
The gun store owner mentioned that people had told him that this same guy was trying to break into other stores that night recently. Have you heard anything about that?
I haven't gotten it, and that's why I go back to Special Agent in Charge Mark Brunell saying, if anybody has any information, please let us know. This incident happened on Little Road. And like Special Agent in Charge was saying, traffic was stopped on southbound lanes where it occurred, but northbound lanes, they were slowing down, people were going, but as soon as shots started going, people started flying out of there. And I get that, you know, people start driving off really quickly. But if anybody has any information, seen him earlier in the day, anything that can help us out, please let us know. Any information he was trying to break into other stores at any locations, please let us know, because the same thing is, he will be held accountable for all his actions.
What is his condition right now?
He's in surgery. So he was shot, tased, hit his head on the ground, has a nasty gash. Our deputies did everything they could to save him. He's in surgery, but after that, I'm not sure.
So we can't say if it's life-threatening or non-life-threatening?
It was pretty bad. Yeah.
Video from the helicopter kind of showed like the parking lot near like the law office was blocked off. Can you just, and then there seemed to be like maybe civilian cars in the area. Can you just maybe provide some more details on like the location and sort of set the scene a little bit?
Yeah, so if you go out here, it's on Little Road. Little Road is 6 lanes, 3 on each side, north going southbound. The incident was on the far right lane on the southbound side. There was a law office behind it. There was those people that, you know, we used to have live PD in Pasco County. They had real live PD. They saw us live up and close, and they saw how we handle business. And so there was people sitting in their cars. You know, we were doing everything we can to keep them a safe distance away. The law office was back there, and I will say this. There was an individual who came out of law office and started filming as we had guns pointed that direction, as there was things going that direction. I'll tell you, people have the right to film. At the same time, is use your common sense. If law enforcement's out there and you know you're in the line of fire, watch it on the news later on. Don't be part of the program. You know, stay away. So there was a lot of congestion out there. There was a lot of people. Northbound lanes were getting jammed up. People were trying to funnel through, and I get it. It's rush hour. People are trying to get to school, trying to get to work. You know, in their standpoint as citizens, it was chaotic. In our standpoint in law enforcement, this is what we do. You know, it's block off the roads, try to get, you know, things moving. As soon as, and this goes back to Special Agent in Charge's point, as soon as the individual was shot and hit the ground, the deputy started rendering aid. There was no way we were going to get fire rescue coming southbound. The only way we were going to get them northbound. So we had to start pushing cars going north so we can get the ambulances coming up northbound to get there as quick as possible. So any witnesses out there that may have seen something, please come forward. You know, hey, you saw it, you saw shots fired, you got out there, we get that. You're not wearing Kevlar, you don't have a gun on you. We understand why you would have left, but at the same time is any information you could provide would be greatly assisted.
Was there any concern? I know you mentioned there was a knife, but you weren't totally sure if he had any other weapons, but just with so many civilians around, was there a concern that this could have escalated and other people would have gotten hurt?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great point. The fact that, you know, we never know who we deal with, if they have a gun or not. Just trying to break into a gun store raises our elevation of threat that, you know, this individual is trying to do harm to other people. He had a knife. The other thing we were concerned with too, and that's why canines were rolling in, we were afraid he was going to take off running. As soon as these calls go out, any local schools notified immediately. We start rolling, hey, just want to let you know this is what's going on. They go through their proper safety procedures. At the same time as, yeah, you got traffic going on. There was no way we were going to allow that individual to start running towards traffic, towards other people. He wasn't going to get out of that situation. One way or another, whether it was handcuffs, whether it was taser, or whether he was getting shot, which was all three of today, he was not going to go out there and harm anybody in our community.
Was there an attempted carjacking?
No, there was no attempted car. The white car that you may have seen in there, that was a detective's vehicle. So it's an unmarked vehicle. So if your helicopter was flying around, saw that white vehicle exactly on the crime scene, and then saw police cars around it, that white vehicle was a detective's vehicle.
Do we know how many gunshots the suspect sustained?
There was 3 shooters, 3 law enforcement officers were shooters. And please, it is standard procedure to put them on leave. It's not that they did anything wrong where we're like, you're being punished. It's standard procedure that they're going to be under, on leave. And it's also a time where our chaplains, our family support network, our SISM team can go in there to assist these deputies because, hey, it's a Friday morning for them. This is the beginning of their quote unquote weekend where they work Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They're probably just starting off thinking, oh, this is my long weekend, getting a cup of coffee, handling calls for service. Deputies did not wake up today saying, oh, I can't wait to be in a shooting. That's not what they do. They want to go out there and they want to come home because I can imagine some of them have to take their kids to go to baseball or sports or whatever game is going on. You know, this is not something that none of us wake up and say we want to get into these situations, but it's something that we all wake up and start our shift knowing we may go into these situations because that's what we signed up to do.
So this is spelling of the last name.
Youmans, first name Scott, 7886.
You said this guy had a history of mental health issues. Did he have a criminal record?
No, which is one of those things. No criminal record, a lot of Baker acts, a lot of mental health, a lot of situations where he wanted to harm himself, making threats to harm other people. Today was the day we'd all just manifested together. This is where I go back to it. You know, unfortunately, there is a mental health crisis. It's not even a, acute issue. It's a crisis in our country. This is what happens when people with severe mental health issues aren't properly treated. There isn't proper locations for them to go to. They end up doing something like this. And unfortunately, the ramifications are he tried to harm a deputy today and he's in the hospital.
Did he say anything about why he was trying to get into that gun store?
The only thing he said, I remember watching the video, him making a statement of saying like, you wouldn't understand. But I do know by, the deputies is the fact that when he was shot, he's laying on the ground, they're handcuffing him and they're bandaging him up, and he says, thank you. Clearly, that term suicide by cop, there's no other way to describe it. I've never heard of somebody actually saying thank you to the deputies for shooting him. He said thank you today.
Do you have the name of the gun store?
It's a little road by Mass. I don't know. Yeah. So, all right. Appreciate it all. God bless.